We're looking at these three pots to the left-hand side. All three of them come from Cyprus. Cypriot pottery is some of the oldest pottery in the Mediterranean. And the reason for that is Cyprus sits on a crossroads of Mediterranean trade. So lots of objects from all sorts of different cultures would pass through Cyprus, and they pick up the ideas and then apply it to their own pottery. The oldest one of these three is the one in the middle, which we think is about 4,000 years old. Traditionally in Cyprus they use red and brown markings on pottery, but at that time they'd got influenced by Assyrian pottery, which is where modern day Iran is, and they tend to use black and white, so they were using these kind of cross-hatched black and white patterns. The pot itself has quite a lot of holes around it, which we think would have had a string cradle, and we think it's a water sprinkler, so you probably swing the pottery and water would come out, maybe to dampen down dust or something like that. The one to the left-hand side is slightly newer, and we think is about 3,000 to 3,500 years old. And by that point on Cyprus, they had got the technology of the potter's wheel. So it was much easier to make pots, but also much easier to decorate them very accurately. So at this point, you get lots of concentric circles, and they did that by putting it on the wheel and then using feathers on the end of a compass to draw very fine lines. And we call this biochrome pottery because it's in two colours, and it's very typical of Cypriot pottery, in the brown and the red. By the time we get to the third pot, the little jug on the right, we think that's probably about 2,500 to 3,000 years old. They then moved on to much more kind of free form decoration pattern, so you can see the lines on it. You see this kind of continuous change of pottery over quite a long period of time in Cyprus.